Alright, so we are back and we want to continue the project, right? So the next thing we want to work on is we want to quickly work on our data models. We want to be able to set up our database and our data models. Like I said, we'll be using MySQL, and so yeah, let's not waste too much time and get to it. So inside this project, we want to be able to use Railway, right? So that is what we're going to use to visualize our database and go through. So yeah, that's it. So the first thing we want to do is you want to go to railway.com/dashboard right here, and once it loads up, what you want to do is you want to click on new, and then inside the new right here you want to click on deploy MySQL, just like that. Alright, and then you can see that it says that it's creating the project right here. I'm pretty sure that if you went to railway.com/dashboard, it would have told you to create your account or set up your account type of situation. You could just log in or create your account with GitHub, and yeah, that should basically do that for you. Alright, so now that we have cleared authentication out the way, let's allow the project to be created. Okay, so you can see that it is creating the project right here, nice and clean. Okay, all right, nice. So now that we have that, we want to click on connect, right? And then you can see that it is giving us this stuff right here. I can just click on this, and then you can see that we have the public network right here, and this is the connection URL that we have right here. So the first thing we want to quickly do is we can copy that right here. We can just copy that, and all we have to do is we need to come to this env.env right here, right? So we come to the .env right here, and then I just have to bring this to the left a little bit more type of situation, right? And you can see that inside here we don't have anything that basically allows us to set up our Prisma, right? So what we are going to do is I'm going to split the terminal right here, and then I would type the famous command right here. I would say npx. Okay, it looks like it's taking some time to load up. Yeah, let me just pause it once it loads up, and then we can continue. Alright, so it is here, and what we are going to do is we're going to say npm init prisma, just like that, and that should basically, okay, looks like there are a few more things not responding, so I'll just, okay, I think it should be working now. Okay, so Prisma right here, and then I'll just hit enter, and then that should initialize a few things that would allow us, that should initialize our Prisma, so we can use it as an ORM to communicate with our MySQL database right here. So let me just pause the video. Once it's done, then we can continue with it. Okay, so I just realized that we had misplaced the positions, so we just say npx prisma init right here, and then that should initialize our Prisma for us, nice and clean. Alright, so as you can see, our Prisma has been initialized, and you can see that a few more variables have been added. So you can see that we have a database URL, and we have like this quick text written right on top right here, nice and clean. And then you can see that we have our Prisma folder right here, and then we have the schema.prisma right here. Now the next thing we want to make sure that we are checking, or we are looking at, is we want to quickly look at the fact that this is going to change, and then we are going to make it MySQL just like this, and inside the database URL like this. What we are going to do is I'll just go into this env, right? And then you can see that the connection URL that we copied from here, all we need to do is to just paste that right here, just like that, and we should be good. All right, so now that we have this connected through this base URL that we have, through this database URL that we have inside our Prisma file, right? After we've been able to do this, the next thing we want to do is we want to set up the models right here, right? Nice and clean. But before we set up the let's just set up the models. And right after setting up the models, we'll just install our Prisma client, and we can just continue with a bunch of other stuff. All right, so let us quickly start with the model. All right, so the first model that we want to quickly set up is we want to set up our profile model right here, right? So let us quickly come and say model profile, just like that. And yeah, just in case you are trying to see your maybe there are some snippets that you're trying to view but you're not able to view these snippets, what you can download is you can go to your extensions, and then you can just go to your extensions, and then you can just search for Prisma right here, and you should, once you see the extension named Prisma, you can just download that, and pretty much should give you access to I think most of the time this part is even gray, so when you download it, it makes it look, it gives some color, some theme, something, and also IntelliSense too. So now that we understand that, let us just quickly continue. So inside the profile right here, what we want to do is I want to add the ID, right? So string right here, and so we want to add the ID, right? So ID is going to be string, and we are going to give it, so at ID right here, right? Then at default right here, right? And then we have what we are going to open up this bracket and then do this ID right here, and then we will just initialize it inside, right? Nice like this. Alright, so now that we've been able to set up the ID, I just need you to understand that inside all the models that we are going to be working with, the ID we are just going to be copying and pasting just this part, so we can keep that part constant, right? So right after giving the ID, we can say user ID right here, and then that one is simply going to be a string, nice and clean. Then we make sure that it is always unique, just like that, nice and clean. Then right after that, we can give it a name, and then we can set the name to be a type string, just like this. Then we give it an image URL, just like that, image URL, just like that. And then we can set that one to be a type string, just like this. Then we set it to be what db dot what text, just like that, nice and clean. All right, so now that we have that too, what we want to do is we want to come and pass in the email. Okay, it's not responding, give it some time. Okay, let me just pause it. Alright, so now that we have the image URL, we can simply continue with the email, just like that. So we have the email, then we give it a type string, just like this, right? Then we set it to be what db.text, just like that, nice and clean. Then inside here what we can do is we are going to quickly add like a few more things, right? So apart from the profile, okay, let's just add them, right? Let's just add them. So we have created at, we make sure that that is what date time. Yeah, so date time, just like that, right? And then we have at default, just like that, and set that to now, just like this, right? Then we set the updated at right here, date time. All right. Oh, looks like it's not responding again. Oof. Wow. The next time I'll try to set it up on my Mac so we can record from there. There will be less lags from there, pretty much. So yeah. Okay, I'm trying to. Okay, so we can continue. So we have updated ads, right? So updated ads, just like that, right? Nice and clean. So now that we've been able to set up the profile, we want to quickly move on to the server model, just like that. So what we do is, I think for the server model, most of the things are pretty much the same, but okay, no problem, let's just set it up. So I'll say model server, just like that. Let's give this one some space, make it look nice. Okay, so model server, and then we can pass in the ID. There's no need to rewrite it. I think, yeah, there's no need to rewrite, so just nice and clean. Yeah, so we just formatted it nicely. Okay, so right after that we can pass in the name, and then we set that to be what, string, just like that. And then we say image URL. Okay, set that to image URL, and then the image URL is going to be set to string, just like that. And then we have what, db.text, just like this, nice and clean. Then right after, we want to enter with our invite code right here. So we have invite code, right? Then we want to set it to be what, string, and after, don't forget your db.text right here, nice and clean. Right, so now that we have this, the next thing we want to do is we want to add we want to quickly add a profile ID. All right, so yeah, let's add the profile ID, just like that, right? And then we are going to set that one to be string, right? But like, we want to be able to link this profile to the server, right? So let us quickly come here. Right, let us quickly come here and then say profile, right? So we'll come and then say profile, right? So this profile that we have, over this profile field that we have, is going to be this profile that is above here, and we are going to set its relation right now real quick. So relation, just like this, and we open up, and then we set the field. Okay, so fields, and then profile ID, right? Then we have what, references, just like that. So references, just like that. I need to make sure that the spellings are correct. All right, then we will just set that to be what, ID, just like this. And then we say on delete is going to be cascade, just like this. All right, so yeah, so pretty much now that we have these, we can quickly continue with the project right here. So with this one, right, what we are quickly going to do is so just so we will not get errors, we would quickly come here inside the profile and then recognize that we have linked it, right? So we see service, and it's going to be what, server, just like this with the array notation. I want us to be able to show the snippets while we code, right? So I'm quickly going to pause the video and then update the software and do a few changes so that we can see the snippets, because it's opened and everything is working, but I think we are not seeing the snippets, so it's not letting you see the errors you're supposed to see in real time. So yeah, give me a sec. Alright, so I was finally able to get everything to work as planned, and so we just move on. So right after this profile site that we have inside the server model, what we want to quickly do is we want to do our created at right here. So created at right here, and right after that we set that to our date and time. There's no need to rewrite that, so we just copy this part and then we just paste that nice and clean, just like this. Alright, so now that we have this part all set up, what we quickly want to do is we want to create an enum right here. So we have this enum and then we'll name it member row, just like that. Alright, and then inside this enum that we have as the member, we set the admin, set a moderator, so moderator, and then we have a guest right here, nice and clean. Alright, so now that we have these bad boys all set up, what we want to do is we want to come here. So let me quickly copy this model server right here. We come here and then we paste that, and then inside we set it up to be member. So we say member, just like this, nice and clean. So now that we have this member model, we already have the ID all set up, and the next thing that we want to do is we want to set up our row. So over here we can just say something like this. So we say row is going to be what? Is going to be member row, just like that, and then we set the default. Right, we set the default to be what? Guest, just like this right here. Alright, so now that we have been able to do this, the next thing we want to quickly do is we can just remove both of these fields right below here, and then as you can see we have the profile ID here, and in order for us to be able to get rid of this error, what we have to do is you go into the profile, just like that. We'll go into the profile here and then we see something like what? Members right here, and we are going to say what? Member, just like that, and then we bring in the square brackets right here to show that it is what? An array, just like that. Right, nice and clean. So now that we have been able to set that part out, once we've been able to set that part up, what we are going to do is we're going to just copy this profile ID right here, and then we'll come and then paste that here. Then we'll just do it what? We'll just make it server ID instead, right? So you can see server ID, just like this. Alright, nice and clean. Then we have this server, and then we have what? Server, just like that, nice and clean. Right, so inside here we can see that we have the field, and then the field here is going to be what? Server ID, just like this. This will be set to ID, and then that should basically do it. And like we did before, what we are going to do is we're just going to go, oh yeah, so we copied it at the wrong side. We copied it inside the server model here, but instead we wanted to put it inside this member right here, right? So let us quickly correct that, and you can see that we still have the error, but we don't need to stress. All we have to do is to go inside the server and then just add it up, just like that. So we can just come here, enter, and then we add the members just like this, and then the member just like how we did right there. Alright, and then if we scroll back down, you can see that we do not have the error there anymore. Alright, and then we already have our created at, and we are going to set our index, right? We need to be setting the index, so right after we set this one, we are going to set the rest. So we have profile ID, just like this, and then we are going to be having what server id 2 as well, just like that. So server id 2 as well, just like that. And we are going to go into the server here, and then we are going to set the index to as well inside the server right here. So as you can see, so index, we set the index to be what profile id, just like that, just like that. All right, so now that we have these two indexes all set up for the server and then the channel right here, you can see that the indexes are basically the relations that we set down here, up here, right? So right after that, the next thing is we need to create another enum, and then so we'll say enum, and we have what channel type, right? So channel type, just like that. And right after creating the enum for the channel type, we want to pass it in as what text. So we want to have a channel, like a text channel, right? So we want to have a text channel or an audio channel or a video channel, just like that, nice and clean. Then right after, what we are going to do is we're simply going to go to the top right here and copy the member model right here. You can see we just copy that, and let me zoom in a little bit more. Okay, I'm trying to zoom in a little bit more, I don't know. Okay, nice. So you can see we can just come here. I think yeah, the previous one was better. Okay, so we can just come here and we just paste the member, and then we change this part to be what channel, just like that. All right, nice and clean. Then right after changing that, the next thing we want to do is we want to keep the id as the way it is. Then we change this type, right? We change it to be what type, just like this, and then we will change it to be what channel type, right? And then we can set it to be what text instead, because we already created, we are setting it to this enum, so we can just select text, right? Most of the default Discord channels are text channels, right? Then we can just set up, okay, I don't think it's responding. Okay, so we can just set up a name for the channel too as well, and then we set it to be what string, a type string, just like this, nice and clean. So right after setting that one to up, we want to keep the profile, and we want to keep the server id too as well, and then we keep both of these bad boys too as well. There's no need for us to keep our created at and updated at here, so we can just leave that. And all we need to do is to just go into each of them and then add them up, just like that. So let me quickly go into the server. Since we have this server, we can just go into the server right here, and we can just add it. So we can say channels, just like that. Okay, oh, can say channels. Okay, and we can just say what channel, just like this, with the square brackets nicely placed in front of it. And then the next thing is you can quickly go straight into the profile and then say what channels, and then we set it to be what channel, just like that, with the square bracket placed. So let's make sure that the spelling is correct, or else we'll be facing unnecessary errors. All right, so now that we have all these bad boys all set up, that should basically do it for us. All right, so that is nice and clean right there. I kind of feel like we should even store the created and updated ads. I feel like, you know, just in case we need to use it in the future. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly go up, and then I'll copy this right here. I'll just copy it, and then I'll come and then paste it right around this side, just like this, and that should basically do it. Yeah, I think we need to copy this and then push it upwards, just like that, nice and clean. All right, right. So now that we have that working like we want it to work, the next thing we want to quickly do is we want to now set up Prisma generate. So we say what, npx Prisma generate, just like this, and then that should basically take the models that we have defined over here and just create, I don't know, just create them, like as in create spaces for them, collections for them inside their respective database that we use to set them up. Alright, so that is it. We are just going to allow this Prisma generate to be ready, and then we can just move on from there. Alright, so right after doing that, the next thing we want to do is we want to say npx Prisma db push, just like this, and that should basically do the necessary last changes. Then after that we can move on to install our Prisma client. Alright, so now that our npx Prisma db push has been able to work out, the next thing we want to do is we want to do our npm I what Prisma, so we say at Prisma slash client, just like this, then we hit enter. Alright, so while this is installing, let us quickly go into our lib right here and then enter db.ts. We'll create a new file, name it db.ts, just like this. Then inside the db.ts, what we'll do is we'll quickly import our Prisma client. So Prisma client, just like this. So from where? From at Prisma slash client, just like that. Alright, so now that we have been able to import our Prisma clients from at Prisma slash clients, that's what we just installed here, or what we are installing here. Then right after that, what we do is we need to declare global, just like this, and then inside we set the var Prisma to be what, Prisma client or undefined, just like that. And then let us make sure that we export, so we export const db, just like this, and global this, so global this dot Prisma, like this, global this dot Prisma, or we would create, okay, it looks like it's not responding, let's wait a little bit, okay, or we would keep having to create a new Prisma client every time. Okay, it's not responding, let's wait a little bit. Let's wait a little bit. Okay, new Prisma client every time, right here. Alright, so now that we have that, I want us to quickly do something here. I want us to make sure that it's only when we are in production. So I'll say process.env dot node env right here. It's only when we are, so let's see, if it's not equal to what, production, just like this, then I need us to do it, to only do the global this to be the global this dot Prisma to be equal to db. So global this, oh come on, global this dot Prisma to be equal to db, just like that. So basically what we are trying to say is, if we do not do this, right, what is going to happen is we are going to have to keep initializing in every new Prisma client every time we run our our local server, or anytime we try to like refresh our page or anything like that, right? And because we do not want to make this keep happening, because we have bot reload, right? So what we want to do is we want to only do it inside production, where we do not have to make any change and see it reload in real time, right? So that is going to make our application faster, especially during development time. All right, so you can see that the Prisma client has been installed nice and clean, and right after that we are going to quickly set up a few we are going to quickly move on to a few things that we are going to be doing using our DB and our models, right? So thank you very much for getting to this part of the video, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.